Howdy. Greetings from a very cold and snowy Nashville. Sam Farkas here with Green Hills Guitar Studio. I'm not at the studio today. I'm at home due to the inclement weather, but doing some teaching online and working on a couple recording projects. But I wanted to take a minute to do a 5-minute lesson, which again is kind of the series where I try to just get over a simple idea pretty quickly and concisely. And it's always something that I've been working on with a student or students recently. So this past week, we were talking about strumming specifically on an acoustic guitar with a pick, right? And I was thinking about this. I kind of, as a largely a self-taught guitar player, I wish I had a teacher that would have called my attention to this idea a little bit earlier on. I had to kind of struggle with this for a few years before I kind of realized this. When we think about strumming on the acoustic guitar, oftentimes as beginning musicians, we just think about it as this one-dimensional thing, right? It means we have a pick and we're moving our arm up and down, and it's this thing. And you would be right, that is strumming. But the idea that took me a little while to recognize, or the philosophy, that the pattern of thinking took me a little while to adopt, is that within this large heading of strumming, underneath that are a bunch of more smaller, refined, more subtle, more nuanced techniques. Right? So that is one style of strumming, one of many different styles of strumming, right? There is another style that comes up a lot, and it's a more percussive, more rhythmic, maybe a little bit more intense version of strumming. And instead of moving your arm from your elbow, it's all from your wrist, right? And your hand stays close to the strings. A lot of it is touching the guitar rather than this idea of your forearm kind of traveling freely up and down. So one song that a student brought to me recently requires this technique, and it wasn't until I explained to him that it's a different strumming technique than what you've been doing, and gave him some ideas about how to approach it, that he really started to get it. I'll play just a small snippet of the song he was interested in. You might recognize it. All right, so that's all from the wrist. My hand is on the guitar. I'm controlling the dynamics. I'm adding in some picking, right? So there are tons of other strumming techniques out there, not to mention different approaches with the pick and different types of pick that you could use to achieve different sounds and effects. But the big idea here is, yes, those are two great strumming techniques that are nested under this larger technique heading of strum, right? But that idea, the understanding that all of these techniques, strumming, picking, fingerstyle, whatever, slide, slapping, all that stuff, they're not as one-dimensional as you may think. They're incredibly nuanced, and there's a lot of subtlety to the technique, different techniques that live underneath of that. That's really important because musicality is all about nuance and subtlety. You really have to pay attention to the details and have an open mind that there's so many different ways to approach this general idea. And that's when things start to become really musical. That's the difference between something that sounds okay and something that feels great. Right? It's all about the nuance and the subtlety. So make sure you dig into the details when it comes to these broader ideas like strumming and picking and all that stuff. Okay? See you later.